Should I wham? My mic. All right, good evening. We are so glad to have you here. We appreciate you joining us for this meeting. For those who are here in person and also those who are joining us virtually, please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. And we want to welcome our student board member here tonight. We are so glad to have you. And Mr. Anderson has a little bio he would like to read about Francisco. So we're going to turn some time over to Mr. Anderson.
Yeah, I don't know if you knew that we were going to do this or not, Francisco, but I'm going to share some info about Francisco, and I want to welcome you tonight. So Francisco is a senior at Elko High School. He is and was currently involved in the following. Francisco is the senior student body president. He's been in student council for 3 years. He has a year of varsity swimming, 3 years of folkloric ballet. That's awesome. Like, what a neat niche, folkloric ballet. He has been a peer mentor. Are you still doing peer mentoring? That's amazing. Good job. He's in the art club, and he's also an AP Lit student. Francisco's plan for after high school is he's going to go to GBC to work on his basic courses. And after that, he plans to attend flight school in Salt Lake City and become a flight attendant and or a pilot. So it's pretty amazing. I have you here. And I know that Ms. Dastrup has already kind of introed you on how to do kind of your role over there. So just want to welcome you, want you to feel comfortable, and we're really grateful to have you here with us tonight. So thanks for being here.
And Francisco, we are honored to have you here with us, serving as a voice for all of the students in Elko County. So thank you for being here. And we appreciate our previous student board members and our future student board members. If you are an underclassman and this is something you'd like to do good things so that you can sit up here. We'd love to have you and hear your voice. All right, we will move on to item 1.3, approval of the agenda.
Move to approve. Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Chair votes aye and the agenda is approved. Item 1.4 is recognition of the National Recognition Program Award recipients. This is a non-action item. All right, Mr. Anderson, who do we have leading off on the National Recognition Program Awards?
Do you have the certificates down there? I think they're
I do
on
have
your
the
right hand.
certificates. All right. Do I get to announce these?
I'm happy to do it if you'd like me to, and you can do the handshaking or however you want to do it. That way you don't have to stand with a microphone if you want
Okay,
to. I can.
I'll let you announce and I get to shake hands. How's
Yes.
that?
All right. Perfect.
All right.
Unless there's another board member who wants to read instead.
You're great. Good.
Seeing none, I will do it. All right. So a little bit of, is this even work? Is this working okay? All right. A little bit of background. So College Board is like a big umbrella that they do SAT, PSAT, AP tests. They have all sorts of kind of post-secondary readiness indicators and exams. And so the student names and awards I'm going to read right now and we're going to recognize tonight are students who have, it's called the National Recognition Program. So there are various categories where they can be recognized. And so some of the names of what they won are very long names, but because they're very specific in the area they qualified. So they could have achieved this through an AP test or through the PSAT or through the SAT. It could be from any of those or multiple of those. So I'm going to begin with Daniel Mendez from Spring Creek High School. And Daniel Mendez actually is a recipient of 2 awards. The first is called the 2022 National Rural and Small Town Award. And he's also being recognized for the 2022 National Hispanic Recognition Award. So congratulations, Daniel. All right, next up is Megan Dwyer. I don't think she was going to be here tonight though, unless I'm mistaken. No, okay, perfect. All right. So I will still read what Megan received and we can clap for her. Megan Dwyer from Elko High School also received the 2022 National Rural and Small Town Award. So congratulations to Megan. Next up, we have Justice Siratek from Elko High School. There it is. All right, so Justin is receiving 2 awards as well. Justice, I apologize, Justice. Justice is receiving 2 awards as well. The first one is the 2022 National Indigenous Award and also the 2022 National Rural and Small Town Award. Congratulations, Justice. Great job. And our last, we have 2 more. Our next recipient is Chris Amaya from Elko High School. And Chris Amaya, there he is being recognized for the 2022 National Hispanic Recognition Award. And our last recipient is Delilah Gaitan. Yes, all right, there she is. Oh, we've seen you before. You were here for the STEM fair too, weren't you? Yes, all right. Delilah Gaitan from Elko High School, also receiving the 2022 National Hispanic Recognition Award. Congratulations, Delilah. Well done. It's always great to see and show how well our students out here in Elko County achieve and can get national recognition. So congratulations to all of you. And thank you so much for coming here tonight so we could recognize you.
Yes, any comments from the board?
Well done, and thank you for representing Elko County School District so well.
So just congratulations. Thank you. Thank you for being here to receive your awards. Thank you to the parents who got your kids where they are. Thank you for being here to snap a picture there. You should be proud of their achievements. So thank you. We're going to give them another hand. All right, item 1.5 is receive a presentation from the Southside Elementary Robotics team. This is also a non-action item. Mr. Cunningham.
So thank you guys for having us here. T.W. Cunningham, I'm the principal at Southside. This is the inaugural Southside Robo Wolves team as well. So I'll turn it over to Coach McVeigh and Coach Stevenson to.
And real quick, before you guys start, parents, if you want to come up to the side and take a picture of the front of your kids, you are totally welcome to do so.
My name is Sophia Lewis, and I'm in 4th grade. We are the Southside Robo Wolves. We are a new competition team in the first LEGO League Challenge. Each of us had to go through an interview process with over 100 applicants. Only 11 of us were chosen. We meet each week, Monday through Wednesday, for an hour to practice coding skills and other robotics tasks. My teammates will now tell you more about what we are learning about in meetings and the 4 components that our team will be judged on at robotics competitions.
My name is Harper Brooke. I am in 3rd grade. We are going to start with the core values of the first LEGO League. The first core value is impact. We apply what we learn to improve our world. The second core value is innovation. We use creativity and precision to solve problems.
My name is Gabriel Mata, and I'm in 4th grade. The third core value is inclusion. We respect each other and embrace our difference. The 4th core value is discovery. We explore new skills and ideas.
My name is Ivan, and I'm in grade 3. The 5th core value is teamwork. We are stronger when we work together. The 6th core value is fun. We enjoy and celebrate what we do.
My name is Simi, and I'm in 3rd grade. I will be talking about the second component that our team will be judged on robot design. In robot design, we present to judges on how we design and program our robot based on this year's mission that the Lego we created. My name is Iverson. And I am in third grade. The third component that our team will be judged on this robot game. In the robot game, our team will have 3 matches. Each match is 2.5 minutes long. During these matches, we must complete as many missions as our robots are able. At the end of all 3 matches, the team with the most points wins the competition.
The final my name is Sahara and I'm in 4th grade. The final component we'll be judged on is our team's innovation project. This year's innovation project is based on energy solutions. Our team will identify and research a problem to create a better future. We will create and model to present to the judges at the competition.
My name is Jaden and I'm in 3rd grade. In addition to meeting after school, each member must complete 2 workshops during the season. Our first workshop was in September at Sage Elementary. We spent the morning learning how to build our competition robot with our teams from Northern Nevada. In the afternoon, we practiced coding our first mission, testing our robot. We have our first squid jump with other schools in November, and our qualifying competition is in December. Thank you so much for having us. We are looking forward to our upcoming season.
Robo Wolves, that was awesome. Thank you for coming and sharing things with us. We are excited to hear how things go as you code and create and imagine and work together as a team. Is there anyone on the board that would like to make a comment to our Robo Wolves?
I would just say 3rd and 4th grade, this is amazing. You guys are just so articulate and well-spoken. You all did such a great job. I'm really proud of all of you. You got a bright future, and thank you to you teachers and administrators. I can see how much passion you guys put towards this too, and the reinforcement and support you give these kids. And it's really, that's what we need. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys. All right, item 1.6 is receive a presentation from Mining Center of Excellence. This is also a non-action item. Mr. Allen, I don't think we need anybody to lift you up so we can see you.
I think I could reach.
Thanks, guys.
A couple months ago, I got a phone call from a guy with a really weird accent. And he said he had this proposal for dual credit that was going to be great for our kids for mining. And that was Sam Spearing. He has lived on 5 continents through his mining career. He's born in Africa, came in and we talked for about 2 hours. He's been in China working in mining. He's had this really great career, and now we're lucky to have him here in Elko. He's come up with a program that is something I am thrilled about for our kids. Mining is huge in this area, and it's going to give them opportunities like we haven't seen before. So with that, I'll let Sam come and tell you what he's got.
Well, welcome. We're excited.
Thank you very much. And Thank you very much for all your help. I'd just like to introduce two people. There's Annie Hooter. She's the director of Mackey School of Earth Resources and Engineering, used to be School of Mines. And then Mary Doucette from Great Basin College, who've helped me. Actually, because I'm from the third world, I introduce them because if I do it well, it's me. If I do it badly, it was their fault. But thanks very much indeed. It's really all about options. And basically what's happened is GBC and UNR have formed this joint cooperation, and it's based in Elko. We took over the armory last week. We've got about 3 to 6 months of renovations to do. We still haven't got the name Mining Center of Excellence formally approved. So that is just a sort of approximate at the moment. But it's really exciting because we're going to be able to offer so much more than just this whole thing of you either go to, GBC, do an associate, or you go to UNR and get a 4-year degree. We'll be able to offer certificates, 1-year programs, 2-year programs, 3-year programs, 4-year programs, the whole way. And it's really exciting because a lot of it's going to be online so that people can get entry levels. Then suddenly someone who's been driving equipment actually decides, hey, perhaps the math isn't that difficult, does it online, passes, and gains the confidence and wants to get to where they want to be. So it's all about trying to get people to the best possible position so the job they get is actually what they want. And we can't attract enough people into the mining industry, and that's a global problem. The CSIRO in Australia released a report 2 weeks ago that said to meet the climate change emissions in 2050, we have to have $5 trillion worth of new mining. I don't know where it's going to come from. We're already 1,000 miners short in the Elko area. And so really, it's important mining for Nevada, but it's absolutely critical for the well-being of rural Nevada. And we're really pleased that we tied into GBC, who've been doing online and remote teaching for ages. They're probably the best in the state. And so it's a really nice alliance. And we want to be offering more options, more pathways, so that the people, if they want to go into diesel, can go into diesel, millwright, whatever it happens to be, or mining, geology, my boss made me say that, or metallurgy, processing. So, we've started this, hopefully it's going to be called the Mining Center of Excellence. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about it. We've got the vision and the mission. It's really safety first, excellence in all things, and an inclusive culture everywhere and always. And we're going to be doing a lot of community outreach, education, industry awareness, recruiting, community investment, economic development, because most people believe that mining is still dark, dirty, and dangerous. And it's not. I mean, we're about the 9th or 10th dangerous sort of occupation. We're nowhere near the top. And yet the way we're still perceived is unfortunately a sort of legacy. But it's a fact that if it can't be farmed, it has to be mined. And, unfortunately, I think a lot of people think that, Walmart grows cars and computers and things like that, which sadly isn't the case. So I think everybody knows where the armory is. It's right next door to GBC. It's effectively a part. They do their CDL training there. So it's a really nice building. We went through it about 3 weeks ago, and I was surprised that the old building was still in such good condition. It's got a few leaks, needs a bit more paint. We obviously got to get good internet in. So we probably got 3 to 6 months of renovations before we move in. But it's a really nice space, and it's going to be available for anybody that wants to do work associated with the mining industry. So if the Nevada Geological Survey has a project in Elko, we can house them. If the mines have got a project, if the schools have got a project, we're going to, do those kinds of things. And our drop dead date to start the dual credit is basically August next year. So hopefully after we get some, at least sort of not thrown with stones by the board, we'll then start going through the formal process of getting the MOUs, which we think are in order because already GBC has got them, UNR has got them. It's just a case of trying to link. We've developed no new courses. So all of these courses are available either at GBC now or at UNR. So we're not asking people to, do this or do that. But we're also going to have two very exciting facilities. One is going to be a fixed lab in the building, and the other one is going to be on the back of a semi, which we can take around to schools. We can take to agricultural shows. It's going to have VR sets. It's a really, really super situation. I don't know if anybody's played with some of these 3D tomographical tables, but if you're a 2-year-old kid I'm one of the demographic that grew in Elko. I'm the over 65s. You can thank me for growing that demographic. Everyone else reduced. But it's going to be so exciting that we can go out to remote schools. We can go to all these kind of things and just show people what mining is about. And it is a big deal when we've got some students coming out from UNR to mining sites this week. And I know what's going to happen. They're going to go, wow, did I choose this as a career? I'm really clever. Because people just don't imagine what it's all about. In Australia, we had a little kid about 4 years old with a VR set on because we allowed them as long as the parents were sort of with them, etc. And he was so excited and he shouted out an expletive which embarrassed his parents. And he said, Dad, I'm driving a truck like you do. And I mean, that's going to stay with that kid for the rest of his life. I mean, he was just so, wow, this is so exciting. And that's what we're going to do. It's not just for high schools, it's junior schools, it's all levels of people. And if we've got this rig, we can travel. And if you just have a look at some of at the bottom, the right-hand side, that's that 3D tomographical table. And they're so much fun. You level it all out and it starts at a neutral color. Then you dig and you can make water areas, you can make hills. With software, you can actually do mining. But these are kind of things that kids really like. There's a simulator that we're going to look at. Those are great. I have to admit, Annie was a better driver than me, so I refused to drive on one of them, but she was showing off, configure. And, the VR sets and things like that, it's stuff that's visual, it's exciting, and it's really nice to, get people involved because the mining industry is the most in need of robotics, automation, virtual reality, real-time monitoring. The very first robotic twin drill underground battery-powered drill rig went underground last week for tests in Europe. It actually drives itself in, drills, it decides where it needs to drill. If it needs a new drill bit, it calls the maintenance guy and he comes and puts a new drill bit on. If it sees that it's got a seal that's going, it calls the person and tells them. I mean, this is really high-tech. This is robotics. This is what these young people are doing. And there's going to be more of that in mining than anything else, because there has to be. We're the only people that build in failed ground. You ask a civil engineer or a mechanical engineer to build something out of, here's some sand, make us a bridge. And they go, wow, that's what we do in mining. It's really exciting stuff. And this has got so much potential for us. So we've set 2 skills certificates. One's a 15 credit hour for people that mainly doing a lot of sport, don't think they've got enough time and things like that. And it's got an intro to mining, an intro to metallurgy, an intro to geology, and it's got English because you really do need that in whatever job you're going to do. I don't speak English, What do they say? The difference between, South Africa and America is a common language. We beat up the Brits the same time you guys did. We just did it quietly. We're nice. And it's going to be really quite fun for them because they're going to gain experience. There's no nasty math. And as people pass every single time, I've had a lot of people, particularly women, who say, I can't do engineering because I can't do the math. This way, it's online. If you fail a subject, the only thing you've done is hurt your ego. You haven't added an extra semester or an extra year onto your studies. And I've never met anybody who said, wow, I failed math, whichever one it was, but I could have passed it. They all say I could have passed it. I just needed to work harder. This way they can do it. So this is the one for just sort of dabbling, which will give them the opportunity to at least get an entry-level job, or later on come back, because we want to have associate degrees as well. We want to be able to be a one-stop shop for the trades, university, and everything else. And then this is our one-year certificate. Those nasty little red things mean that you need math. But that is basically got some of the pre-calc classes in. It's a really nice preparation course for students to either move into GBC themselves or to start working, and later on they'll be able to just come back in and they'll be able to, I use the term upskill. Everyone thinks I'm mad when I say upskill, but they'll be able to come down and say, wow, you know, I'm doing this at the moment. I'd like to do that. Well, there's a course that will allow you to do it. So it's going to be seamless. And I think it's a really exciting time for us all. And the certificates will be received by the schools. They'll come from GBC, but they will transfer into basically UNR. We're hoping to expand after our first attempt, which I don't see why it should fail, because everything's online, everything exists and all the rest of it. It's just a case of making sure, because part of it is going to be hybrid. So labs are going to be in person. We're going to be able to offer mine trips. We hopefully have got the mines agreeing to do some small internships with the school children, so they can really get a good idea of this is mining and wow, that's horrible, or wow, this is really something that I like. And I haven't seen a wow, this is horrible. I have seen a wow, this is really cool, but I'm still going to do music. But at least they come out thinking, hey, mining's not as bad as people say it is. And so hopefully we'll go statewide from next year. But thanks very much for putting up with my ramblings. And I have the only true American accent because the federal judge said I had an American accent. So I show this to all my students just to annoy them. Thank you very much for putting up with me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Yeah, we can applaud. Thank you.
Just when can I get hooked up to that VR? I'd like to take that for a spin.
It is so much fun.
Yeah.
And it's so realistic. You know, you can actually, we just make people sit because people sort of bend over backwards and then sort of collapse on the floor and whatnot. But
yeah,
it's really good stuff, and it's quite cheap to do. Those sets are like $300 a pop.
Yeah.
And you have a 3D camera, you just go wandering underground, take photographs, and, you know, cobble it together. It'll be very exciting.
Well, I love your enthusiasm, and I'm really excited to try it out. It transferred to me. So
Super.
I'd love to see it.
And so you said you were going to do mining. Was that I heard? I'm sorry, or was it flying? Flying's up there. You want to be down here. Thank you very much.
Dr. Spearing, if I may, or perhaps for Dean Doucette, the certificate that you're working on currently is a 30-hour certificate, 30 credit hour certificate. And I know that you're working on a 60-hour associate. If somebody wanted to do dual credit and take the 30-hour, is there still enough time for them to pick up do the dual credit currently to be able to pick that up, perhaps an Associate of General Studies or something similar?
They're working on a 15 credit certificate first. That's just kind of the entry. And then they're going to go to a 30 credit certificate of achievement and hopefully into associate. Built in the dual credit, so hopefully they'll start their junior year and be able to finish the certificate of achievement at the end of their senior year.
And so in that,
could go into the associates right after that, and then have that associate's degree that first year of college.
okay.
So hopefully it'll be smooth like that.
And some of our students are able to achieve the associates while in high school.
Some do, yes.
Does the timing of this and do the classes of this allow for somebody that's way more active than I was to be able to do that?
Typically, there's not that many students. When I became dean, we designed a certificate of achievement because that was more realistic for most of our students, because really that senior year, they want to participate in the sports, they want to participate in all their extracurricular activities. Many of them work.
So it's very difficult to get that associate's degree. The pathway is there if they want to do it. They certainly could, but right now we're building it to be more of the 15 credits in the junior year. They could do the 15 credits in junior and senior, but it's up to the student. So really, if that student wants to get an associate's degree by the time they graduate high school, they would seek advisement and plan it out that way.
Great,
But
thank
it's very
you.
rare that we have, I think we had 7 last year that did associate's bars.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board?
I don't have a question, but I love the collaboration and just another option for our kids. So thank you.
All right. Well, again, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing with us and calling Mr. Allen to get this moving. We love providing opportunities for our students. So thank you. All right, we'll move to item 1.7, input from the public. This is a period devoted to comments by the general public, if any, and discussion of those comments. In the interest of privacy and due process, the public is requested to not raise personnel issues except in a legally noticed closed personnel session of the board. Comments are limited to 3 consecutive minutes. A speaker's time may not be reserved, divided, apportioned, or deferred. No action may be taken upon a matter raised under this item of the agenda until the matter itself has been included specifically on an agenda as an item upon which action will be taken. This is a non-action item. Is there anyone who wishes to speak? Okay. You'll have another opportunity later if you really feel like it. We'll move on to item 2.1, receipt, review, and possible approval of a request to conduct a surplus sale. All right.
Madam Chair, this seems somewhat self-explanatory, and I don't know if we need to do it, but at the pleasure of the board, I'm happy to make a motion that we conduct a surplus sale for a large piece of equipment, namely the vehicle lift from the diesel mechanic program.
Thank you. We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion or any questions?
Is there like a list? Not yet.
It's just that one item.
I mean, I know that it's pretty regular. It's a regular thing that's done, but it's just the one item.
A list. It's just the one item. It's
Oh.
too large to store for another year until next summer for the regularly scheduled surplus sale.
So as the maker of the motion, the only question I have is, why does this come before the board?
It's board policy. Only the board can deem something as surplus and approval for disposal. It's a control to keep us from getting rid of big equipment.
School.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't need the site. Yes.
Just want to double check. All right. And staff's recommendation is obviously that we do this.
Yeah, we're getting a new one installed, so the old one needs removed.
Great.
All right.
My motion stands.
Okay, excellent. Any other discussion or questions before we vote? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Chair votes aye and that motion carries. Item 2.2 is receipt, review, and possible approval of a resolution to reserve portion of the general fund, ending fund balance pursuant to NRS 391A.455. Julie, you're already here, so fire away, or if there are questions from the board on this one?
So this is a yearly resolution that we've done, I think, since 2016. And just designates some ending fund balance for the only performance pay. Well, the main one I can think of is the merit increases. You need performance evaluations to be eligible for that. So yeah, a yearly resolution.
All right, thank you, Julie. Are there any questions from the board?
No questions. Again, this is, as many things mandated by the state legislature, passed in 2015, probably the reason we started it in 2016.
Yeah.
I see no issue with this, especially because it is the NRS on this. So move to approve the resolution to reserve a portion of the general fund ending balance pursuant to NRS 391A.455.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
What was that NRS?
NRS 391A.455 passed in 2015. I think that's the 70th legislature or something crazy. I don't know. I can get into more detail if you want, but I need a little bit more time.
You're good.
All right, no other questions. We will proceed to vote. All in favor of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Chair votes aye, and that motion carries. Item 3, thank you, Julie. As always, thank you for taking care of our finances and making things so transparent for our district. We appreciate it. Item 3.1 is our consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
That is reserved for you.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Chair votes aye, and the consent agenda is approved. Item 4.1 is a report from our NASB director.
Well, that's me. I don't have much to add. Just a reminder about those dates coming up in November. It's that weekend right before Thanksgiving. But other than that, it's pretty quiet until then. So that's all I have for this meeting.
All right. Any questions or guidance for Jeff? All right, we'll move on to item 4.2, items from board members. And I'll just open the floor to anyone who would like to speak. And Francisco, we'll give you an opportunity if you have something you want to share at the end or in the middle. Just give me a little signal when you're ready.
If it helps any, I can start on this end and
Let's
we can kinda
start
go
with you,
through.
Matt. Go for it.
I don't have a whole lot. Have been able to visit a few PTAs as I think since the last meeting, we've gone to 2. Susan and I and Miss Ballard was able to join today as well. It is really cool to see what these PTAs are doing and how active they are. I was able to do watchdogs, and dads of great students is the acronym there with our youngest, but I never thought about PTA. I highly encourage folks to please consider the PTA, PTO. If you have just even 15 minutes to be able to spare, I think it would definitely be helpful. So I highly encourage that, and I appreciate everything that they are doing. And the other thing is just a big push next Tuesday, a week from tonight. In fact, actually almost exactly a week from now at 5:30 at the Elko Conference Center will be the Elko Area Chamber of Commerce Government Affairs Committee Candidates Forum. This will be the 3rd one that the chamber is doing, and will feature the 10 candidates running for school board. I think it's an exceptionally important election on many parts, but for the school board specifically, please have an informed vote. If you don't know who you're voting for, if you want to see past rhetoric, please come to the candidates forum on the 18th at 5:30 at the Elko Elko Conference Center. I think I'm going to keep it kind of short and I'll leave it at that.
All right. Thank you, Matt.
Oh, my turn.
Yeah, go for it.
So I had the pleasure of being meeting with the CTE advisory board this morning. Matt joined me there. That was a good meeting, talking about all things CTE. Just informative, all those different things that are going on in that realm. I don't have any specifics, but it's a pleasure to be a part of it. CTE is the future. So, and then it's wonderful for these programs. So speaking of CTE, being and then programs that we can work with GBC, and all the different programs that everybody's working on. It's fantastic to see. That's a big discussion I have with many people out in the public is where are things going? We know where we were. We need to continue to move forward to help these children continue to learn and develop and become wonderful people of the United States of America. Okay. The other thing was I am awaiting my sub license. So we're 40 days in, very expedited, Mr. Anderson. But we're almost there, about halfway through with that. So, and then I should have that and I'll try and help on days I can help. So other than that, that's all I got.
I'd just like to comment, as I've said before, the Elko County School District does not issue licenses in the state of Nevada.
I'm so sorry. That implied it was you. I was actually making a joke towards the state, which is
Okay,
expediting.
perfect.
I
We don't do
apologize.
that.
I apologize. That is not done here. Like many things, like I've said in the past, I think all licenses are at the pleasure of the governor and whomever is appointed within those departments. So that's just how the state of Nevada is organized. Sorry.
Thanks, Josh. Ira, do you have anything?
Just what is the format for that forum?
I don't know because I've purposefully distanced myself. However, the Chamber of Commerce typically does a 2-minute opening. Then every candidate will have 2 minutes for opening. And then they'll ask a series of questions, candidates answering those questions within a 2-minute time limit, and then 2 minutes in close. With 10 candidates in the past, when I have moderated, I think 5 candidates was the most I had. And typically all 5 candidates would answer the same question at one time. By the time you got to 4th or 5th question, it was kind of a ditto what he said, because there's not really a lot more to add. So how the chamber is going to do that, I'm not quite certain. I have suggested that perhaps they answer ask a couple of questions where all 10 of us and respond, and then perhaps have other questions where they break it up and they ask only certain districts certain questions. But it also, when I've moderated, I've tried to be very clear on making sure that it's not a pointed question for only one member, and that both candidates or multiple candidates can answer that question. So I don't know for certain beyond that. I would assume it's probably going to be pretty close to that. I know that Elko Broadcasting has allowed us to use a timing device that I think actually was built by Elko High School students. And it's just a knob, turn the knob, and red light goes on to say you're out of time, or yellow light goes on to say you're 30 seconds to wrap up. So that's the best I can answer with historical, but I've tried to distance myself and let them run it. I do believe they said publicly that the moderator would be Jennifer Back with Ormaza Construction. And, pardon me, and a member of the CTE advisory group as well.
Susan, go ahead.
I'll pull a mat. I kind of have a whole page here. First, thank you, Francisco, for being here. The stars, Mr. Anderson and I went out today, and the committee chose Faith Reitmer, who is a 4th grade teacher at Grammar, and then Lindsay Wiggum, who is the registrar secretary at Carlin. And they are going to come to, one will be at the meeting in Carlin, and then one will be at the next time we're here in Elko. So I will wait until that time to read their nominations and wait till they can be here to be acknowledged. But I would like to thank Total Eye Care. There's an anonymous donor. Leanne's Floral Design had beautiful flowers today, and Keith Frayne, I think is his name, from Maverick Gaming, for their Amazon cards and flowers and Starbucks. Just it's really nice to get out there. And on the bulletin board out here on your way out, we're going to put the names and pictures as we go along. So that will get filled up by the end of the year. And then I'm not sure if people are aware, but there's a virtual Nevada Family Engagement Summit on October 22nd from 9 to 3. And it's a free event that's virtual. So it's helpful to those of us in these areas that can't drive to Vegas for everything. So I just thought I'd advertise that a little bit. I have a flyer on it, but if you just do a search for Nevada Family Engagement Summit, you'll come up with the Eventbrite link. I would like to put out there again, could we consider going out to Spring Creek for 1 or 2 times for our board meetings, just so that we get every community? Just a thought. Let's see. Went with Matt. So Wells, Sage, Mountain View. I went back to Mountain View. Spring Creek Elementary today for the PTA. They really have been actually fun. There's fun groups, and they each have different activities that fit with their school, and they've just been a blast. So I've really enjoyed going to those, and I will keep trying to get to as many as I can. So I'll keep trying on that one. I watched the Nevada State Board of Education meeting, which was interesting. There was a student that gave public comment, which I found interesting. He was, one of the things he said was, make a learning environment a place students want to be, not forced to. a place where learning and socializing coexist. Schools should be a place of inspiration, a place where the choice of success is desired and earned, not just available. I thought that was inspiring, actually. And of course, they talked about a lot of other things, one being the legislative session coming up and what they want to talk about at those sessions, one being funded and that we're underfunded. So I thought that was important. Maybe that's your department, maybe, but just so you know. I also did a few of those webinars from Pool. I've been taking a few of those when I can. I'm enjoying them. Maybe that's just the geek in me of wanting to take classes, but there was one on homelessness. I did a child abuse, took one on child abuse and one on disruptive student behavior. And they just had some good tips just for all of us, not just a teacher. So I'm finding those informational. One last thing, sorry, I'll try to speed it up. The Strategic Planning Committee meets next week. So just wanted to remind the public as well as the board here. Once again, I'll say it again because I know I said it last time. I'm so excited for it. It's going to be a great step for us moving forward as a district. For the board, the community too, that we can all get a vision together. There is going to be, and Superintendent Anderson or Mr. Smith can correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a process that you go through and that will come to stakeholders. So there will be public input. It's not just us deciding. But I really think that's going to help us have a direction and a clear direction and something to go for. So I'm excited for that. That's my 2 cents. It's actually a quarter.
That's a great two. That's 4 or 5 cents right there. I loved it. I'm not too worried about time because it looks like we're flying right through this. We're already in the 4s and it's still anyway. And it's kind of bittersweet. But Francisco, thanks for being here. I wish we had more on the agenda today but maybe CJ's got some good stuff over there. So there's still hope for you to get something in here. But I did love about this meeting, seeing the robotics, seeing the young kids, those 3rd and 4th graders, they're so articulate and so well-spoken and excited about what they're doing. And then having them come in after and seeing what we're doing for the next step for the older kids, as once they establish a path here that they're able to move on. So that's really, was really cool to see that kids will be able to start at such a young age like that at 3rd and 4th grade and really get a feel for that. And I do know how my son's in it, my 11-year-old, the VR, he's all over it. And that would be something he would love. So I'm excited to see that too. I wanted to talk a little bit about West Wendover because that's our next meeting coming up. And I've had a lot of folks come and talk to me regarding the MGT presentation and also homecoming. I wanted to talk about that in our field area. We hosted 1,600 people. Wells Rural Electric did their annual community fundraiser. And what they did is they donated $5. I apologize, I don't have it down right now to where exactly that went, but I know it's school related. And it was $5 for every person that showed up. And 1,600 people was a very good turnout. So, and then just a couple of days later, we had homecoming and our guys come through and we won our homecoming game. So that was awesome because touchdowns have been a little hard to come by out there lately. But one of the things people have been coming into my business, they've stopped in. I've had somebody every day for the last couple of weeks that I've been in there has come in and talked to me a little bit about the grounds and stuff regarding the presentation that came out and then what it is. And what I would like to do is urge as board members, if you guys come out a little bit early and take a walk just around the football field, around the track area, because it's actually is in pretty poor shape, and our bleacher areas and our the snack bar especially is it's kind of just, I don't want to say too, but it's kind of second rate. I'll just put it that way. And I've had a lot of people come talk to me, especially regarding the track, because we have 110 kids, 60 at the middle school and another 50 at the high school that are running track this year. And currently we don't have a track out there. So I know that that's something I expect some really good turnout for that meeting because there's been a lot of community involvement. Like I say, 1,600 people came out for that Wells Rural fundraiser. So I know that there's a lot of excitement for us to be coming out there to West Wendover, but I will say, and a lot of, just to give you a heads up, that a lot of people feel like, we're the ones over the hill, and so like I say, they're happy to see us coming out. So, but to make the most of that, I'd say if you can come a little early and take a walk around, I'd be happy to show you or point you in the right direction or anything to check all that out. And I believe that's all I have. Just to reiterate with what Matt said, the candidate forum on the 18th, I think is very important, as well as the ones they've already had. It's not just our races, but all of them. I would urge everybody to be an informed voter. And there's some questions on the ballot too, that really you should look at. And I hate seeing people go through and just, check the boxes. Please take that. I just got my ballot, sample ballot in the mail the other day and was able to read through, but I urge everyone, please go through, read the questions, read the arguments for or against, and so on. Don't, when you end up in that ballot box, to kind of scratch your head going, what is this? Be prepared. So I would urge everybody to please do that. That's all I have.
Thank you. All right, Francisco, you ready?
Okay.
All right.
I don't know what specifically I can say or what I can't say, but thank you for having me. I like being here. What he said, I go off that. I really like seeing like these young students like do a lot of outstanding activities in school, like this robotics club thing. Like I love it. Like it's like so cool to just see like these students just like do something that they could do for the rest of like their like school years. Like they can get into like Adobe, like Flagview, like Elko or Spring Creek, and like they can keep doing this. And I feel like that's like so cool for them because that can get them into like great colleges and like everything else. And I can't remember his name, but that like minors club thing, I love that. I really did like that, but I'm just a little sad I can't do it this year and it's coming out next year because maybe I can stay on ground and not going like on the air. So maybe like I'll definitely look into that. I like that very much. And that's pretty much it. It's very good. Homecoming week is this week at Elko High School. So the homecoming game is at 6 p.m. on Friday. So hope to see you all there. Thank you.
What kind of activities do you do for the week? What's going on?
Oh, so for dress up days, we have yesterday was Martian Monday. And every day of the month, we like to support Colors for Cancer. So we do green, blue. I can't remember all the colors. So yesterday's color was green. I can't remember what specific type of cancer that is, but we do like to represent each type of cancer. And then we do like these activities, and these activities we fundraise money, and then we donate it to the hospital to all these people who are suffering from cancer at the moment. And yesterday's dress up day was you have to wear all green or all gray to represent that color. And then today's dress up day was Galactic Hair, and it was basically you just wear a wig or like you do a crazy hair day. I was wearing a wig. It was super funny just seeing all these students with a wig. And then tomorrow is Alien versus Cowboy. So you can just dress as an alien or just a cowboy. Thursday is Take Me to Your Leader. It's just where teachers dress as students and students dress as teachers. And Friday is just Spirit Day. Just get pumped up for the homecoming game. And that's pretty much it. Yeah.
And who's the game against?
So we did have a tragic thing where we were going to play Dayton, but their homecoming, their football team just fell apart. Like basically like a lot of students just like did it. So we are playing, I believe, Lovelock now. And our varsity team won't be playing. There will be our JV. So yes. Yeah. It's definitely, yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Well, Francisco, thank you for being here. Thank you for representing students, and thanks for filling us in on Elko's homecoming. Sounds like lots of fun activities, and obviously you've been involved in those. So we appreciate that. As far as my report, I am just excited to have students in this room every time we have a meeting. That is a change we work together as a board to, and with Mr. Anderson to make. That, we wanted the focus here to be on students because that's why we're here. And so having students come to every meeting, having a student board member sit up here, having students come and talk about their successes, seeing awards that they've received, that's why we're here. And anyone who has intentions otherwise, come and look at these students, come and watch them shine, because it is amazing. And I'm excited about that change that we have seen over the last little while with this board and with Mr. Anderson, is really bringing our focus on students. And I know that's been, everybody wants to do that for a long time, but here in this boardroom, we're trying to make that a more regular thing, and I love it. I get to go to different activities, lots of athletic events on a regular basis. I get in a lot of miles watching cross-country runners, and also not as many miles watching volleyball players. I get my heart gets a lot of jumping though going on watching volleyball players. So just the fall sports seasons are kind of starting to wind up, and winter sports will start soon. But I just encourage people, go out and support kids, whether it's at a sporting event, whether it's drama, whether it's music, whatever it is, go out. Even if you don't have a student, go out and support the kids in your communities, because they are the ones who are the future, whether it's here, whether it's worldwide, they're the future. So go out and support them, help them see that they matter, that their activities matter, their academics matter, really be a champion for kids. So that's my report. We'll move on to item 5.1, our superintendent's report.
Madam Chair, I apologize if I may.
go ahead.
I did forget free and reduced lunch during the CTE presentation this morning. Free and reduced lunch came up. The impact to the district on this is profound. And it's that stat that is used, or the statistics that come out of that free and reduced lunch form, impact just about every program across the district. And CTE brought to our attention how, this morning at least through that meeting, how the statistics that they have to use actually negatively impact when there aren't enough responses. Whether it's free or reduced, it doesn't matter. It's the number of responses. So parents, if you have a free and reduced lunch form at home you have not yet turned in for your family, please do so. It does benefit the district in more ways than one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to echo that just a little bit and just expand the conversation a little. Because there are plenty of people will say, well, there's no point in filling out the form because I know my kid's not going to qualify for free reduced lunch, or we're already getting free lunch this year because of the federal and state subsidizing that. And it's a very similar mentality to, I'm not going to build a tree or plant a tree. Nature builds it, we plant it. I'm not going to plant a tree because I'm not going to see the shade of that tree, or something like that. It's just a short-sighted mentality. We need to understand that we are all part of a community, and just like Mr. McCarty said, the receipt of those forms has a lasting impact on many programs. Oftentimes in schools, the type of funding we get, sometimes like kind of a tough position we're in right now is when we went into hold harmless with when kind of everything went bad, is we had a year there where we didn't have as much money in certain things, and so we ended up for several years thereafter not getting more funding that we would sure have loved to have had, right? And so and oftentimes the same type of stuff happens here. Well, for the next couple of years, like that school was not a Title I school for that year, so or et cetera. Like that carries out through various things. So it's important that we always have the most, just like we always want to have the most current data on like an individual student, we need to have the most current data on what our schools consist of and what our makeup is, so that we can adequately allocate funds where they need to be, who needs to be receiving them, and how we can use those in the most effective manner. And if we don't have all the right data, it's hard to make the right decisions. So just really want to impress upon that for people, and hopefully we can just keep getting that message out. We need to have those. It's called the free reduced lunch form. It is about way more than free and reduced lunch, especially this year where the lunch is free anyway. Like it's not even about that. It's about having accurate data on the makeup of our schools. So that's that. So a few things I want to share with you. Number one, I guess I don't have them numbered, but I'm calling it number one. Had a wonderful meeting last week with several community partners, district personnel about how our district can do a better job of addressing mental health crisis, suicide prevention strategies, and really develop our partnerships with the different entities in the state and then the region that can, because oftentimes we find ourselves responding to emergencies, right, or tragic situations, and there. I want everyone to know, like, we are doing a lot in our schools already. Every school we have is staffed with counselors. We have social workers throughout the district, not one in every school, but we have social workers. We are working on finding the right SEL curriculum, which is social emotional learning, to help our students understand how to acknowledge their feelings, how to process them, how to help one another, how to be kind to each other, really raising social and emotional intelligence. There's all sorts of things we need to do better with, but I don't want people to think that because something happens, oftentimes that's the reaction. Something happened, we're failing our kids, right? There's a lot that's being done. There is a shortage of counselors. There is a shortage of social workers. That's not an Elko County shortage. That's an everywhere shortage, right? Thankfully, we have partnerships with wonderful organizations. There's always more that we can do, but the most effective thing we can do is support one another. And so we're looking at, there's like a convening of sorts from a state level about how we can kind of funnel those things so that it's all kind of working together. And just want you to know that here, along with the SROs, along with really any entity that takes part in the behavioral and mental health of our students, we are continuing to strategize not only how to more efficiently handle things in a crisis, but how to preventatively do things and how we can have access to resources for kids all along the way. And so there's some pretty exciting initiatives we're interested in and thinking about. Oftentimes those things cost money, so we're also looking at funding sources, but I just want you to know that it's a top priority for us and we're working on it. So I appreciate greatly. There's a lot of people to thank, but I'm just going to call out Larry Robb. He's our kind of our coordinator for the social workers in the district, and he's phenomenal, and he's doing such a good job of trying to coordinate those efforts. And we're happy to give our time and our efforts to that whenever and however we can. Next up, I'm going to touch on something Susan mentioned. She talked about the strategic planning meeting next week. I'm excited for that. Something I want to encourage you to do, and maybe this is something that you want to agendize later, or maybe you just want to think about it. And, I don't know how you want to handle it according to open meeting law, but we have talked in the past about having board goals. And then there's the question of, well, should those, do we get our own independent goals? Do we try to make a match with district performance plan goals? The strategic plan is going to come up with goals. It seems kind of silly to have 3 goals here and 4 over in this one and 5 over there. And how well do those things coordinate? There's going to be some overlap, but instead of 3 different circles making a Venn diagram where, okay, this is probably the most important, it'd really be great if those circles all were just boom, like that. And so I think I'd like you to consider how you want, because I know you want goals. I think we should talk about, as we go through these next 3 months of strategic planning, trying to make sure that maybe you, I don't know, like authorize Susan potentially to speak on behalf of the board of developing those goals, or maybe she comes to you. It's kind of a process between and amongst yourselves. You're certainly welcome to do your own goal workshop on the side, and we can make that happen. But it feels like a good timing while we're working on a strategic plan for the district to maybe develop those board goals as we're doing that. And of course, have that element that Susan talked about of bringing those to the public to kind of sign off on or get their opinion on, at least, which is part of our process too. I don't want us to get too far in the game and be like, oh yeah, we should probably have some board goals too, right? Like, I think we could have them, we should have the same goals, I think. And we're very, very similar anyway. So we're being efficient and focused on what we're doing. So I don't really have anything for you to do right now or tell me to do, but I want you to have that in mind because I know goals have been on your mind. Last week I was in Las Vegas for a few days for several meetings. I just want you to know what I was up to in those meetings. I was there for a convening with a company that the state is partnering with to develop. Well, they're talking a lot about the future of learning in Nevada and what that's going to look like. There's a lot of talk about something that's called a portrait of a learner. And essentially it's taking the focus, not that focus away from accountability, but the focus away from scores as like the end all be all of what our students are and why we teach them in school. So a portrait of a learner might like one of the things we might want our student to have is responsible citizenship, right? Like you can't measure that in an SBAC test, right? So the social emotional intelligence, right? So they're talking about how that might be sort of the future of what the Department of Education is interested in pursuing. Now it would allow every district to kind of give it their flavor and decide what that would look like. But that's a conversation that's being had, and I'm here and there on some of the stuff. Like but they're getting superintendents from all over the state. I was there with, I want to say there was about half of us that were there, and we've got another meeting there in a couple more weeks, and I'll be there for that too. But really trying to help make sure that the voice of Elko County is reflected in those decisions that are being made statewide, and we can speak to things that matter to us. So that happened. And then we also had our superintendents meeting, our monthly one. A lot of discussion about the upcoming legislative session. And I imagine my meeting in November will have that. And I imagine my meeting in December will have that. And we're going to continue to talk about those bill drafts that are being brought before the state, and the high school, college, and post-secondary readiness exam is a huge topic, whether it's going to be ACT, whether it's going to be something else, because that went there and kind of got shot down. And now they're back to the drawing board. And so some pretty big decisions about our students and legislation specifically. And I was happy to be in that meeting, so you don't have to be. Yes, I know you were. All right, a couple more, just three more. Yesterday, our employee, so I'm gonna back up. We have a partnership with Qualtrics, very interested in employee engagement and understanding the employee experience of our teachers, our support staff, our administrators, everybody that works for Elko County School District. So just yesterday at noon, that survey went live. I was super happy I checked here just before my superintendent's report, and with just over 24 hours of, 30 hours of that survey being out, we already have just about 40% of our staff have participated in that. I want to reassure everyone it is 100% anonymous. I've got a few emails asking, is it anonymous? And my answer, it's a copy and paste, boom. And the answer is it's anonymous. Nobody at the school district, not even I, have access to individual results. It goes through something else and we get compiled data, and we're going to use that to inform how we can help our employees feel as awesome as we think they are, because there might be a little bit of a disconnect there. So that is going, and yeah, we're leaving it open for 2 weeks, but after one and a half work days, basically, we're already up to 40% of participation. So really excited about that. And tomorrow we have an admin council with all of our administrators, and we will be sure to let the principals and vice principals know to please push that message out to all those teachers as well. All their staff members, teachers, certified, classified, all of them. We want to hear from everyone. Also, well, I guess that one's a bigger one, so I'll save that for last. The next to last thing I'll say is a recognition of some students. You may have heard about our Wells FFA program. They do pretty okay at stuff. They recently went to the state FFA competition, and our Wells FFA won both of the contests. In the Nevada, first place Nevada State Range team included Ian Livingstone, Truman Kington, Jake Glasscock, and Hannah Prescott. Those four were the team that won. And the first high individual was Ian Livingstone, and the third high individual was Truman Kington. And by virtue of winning, they also qualify for nationals for that contest. And then also the Wells FFA was first place for the Nevada soil judging team. And that team consists of Spencer Gale, Grant Kington, Carson Ballard, Tegan Colton, Ian Livingstone, and Gage Ulig. And so that team of 6 kids, and 4 of the 5 high individuals were from that team. The first high individual was Spencer Gale, the second high individual was Carson Ballard, 4th high individual was Tegan Colton, and 5th high individual was Gage Ulig. So not only one as a team, but cleaning up with the high individuals as well. So congrats to those students, those teams, to Mr. Norda and Mr. Kendall, our advisors out there. I had the pleasure of seeing those teams firsthand as the administrator out in Wells, and they're phenomenal in everything they do. They can't be stopped. So we're real proud of them and want to congratulate them for that. The last bit I want to talk to you about, and I'll keep it pretty brief, but I promised you an update, and that is on the 4-day opinion survey. Just going to give you results, not in yeses or nos, but results in participation rates. So you know where we're at. And I guess there isn't really action here that can be taken today because this is a non-action piece, but I'm going to let you know where we are. And if you have suggestions for things, you can throw them out there. But our staff, out of 936 staff, 694 participated, giving us a better than 74% participation rate, which is that's a good number of people to participate. Out of our students, and these were students at Elko High School, Spring Creek High School, Adobe Middle School, and Spring Creek Middle School. So out of 3,818 kids, we got responses from 2,356, which is just under a 62% response rate, and which is not a bad number either. And then from our parent caregiver survey, out of 8,806 participants, we had 1,429, which is just over a 16% participation rate. That number's low, in my opinion, is low. I met today with the 3 teacher leaders that presented the 4-day option to us. So I met with them this afternoon and already discussed with them what we're going to do, utilizing parent-teacher conferences and other methods to try to get some more parent participation. I didn't speak for you. I told them I thought the board would probably want to hear from more than 16% of available parents. You're welcome to tell me, no, that's enough. Let's agendize this next meeting, and we can put together a superintendent's advisory committee. You can direct me to agendize something. But given absence of direction, the teachers and I are already, those 3 teachers and I we got a plan in place, and we're going to go out and try to get some more parent participation. I recognized last time the difficulty that, there were no obstacles created, but it wasn't the easiest survey to participate in either, by nature of trying to make sure we got only the right people participating. So the parent-teacher conference method would reduce any of those barriers that people may have run into. I recognize and understand the foibles of a parent-teacher conference method as well, and who that would get, but we're going to continue to work on how to get as much as we can out of that. And so parent-teacher conferences are early November. That gives us a few weeks to have a pretty solid plan down, get it communicated out, and really try to get some more participation. So that's where we are with that. And I feel, I won't speak for their perspective, but I feel like I and those 3 teachers have a really good relationship going right now, working together on trying to accomplish this. I don't think they feel like the burden's on them per se. I feel like we're working together, and I really appreciate their understanding and their enthusiasm and the hard work that they're putting in on their end as well. So I think that's it from my superintendent's report today. And I'm listening if anyone has any questions or.
I do. All right. Can I ask a question about the questions on the survey? Because I don't, what was asked?
Oh, sure.
I don't know.
You're good. I think I've said it before, but I'll say it again. There were 3 very basic questions. Number 1, are you in favor? Yes, no, or undecided. Number 2, why did you pick that? And people would do a free form response. And then the third was which school do you work at, or do you attend, or does your kid attend? That's it. I do have, and I intend on sharing with you, it took me a while to get it all together, but I do have several documents that line out every comment by every person on every, whether they were a parent or a kid or a teacher, on their reasoning for why they wanted this over that, or why they're still undecided. And so those are things that I think you should consider. I'm giving you fair warning. One of those documents by itself is about 70 something pages. So there are many comments to go through. I mean, we're talking about it at this point. We've already got more than 4,000 responses. Some of the responses are very like IDK or because it sounds better, right? Like there's not a whole lot of substance to them, but there are some that are like, it's a full page of response from one person, or multiple pages in the case of a couple of people. So I think I'm going to put those in your hands just to do on your own time and read through. I have not edited anything. I simply sorted logically so I could put it in a presentable fashion. Furthermore, I told this to the teachers today, and I want to make sure everyone understands, because we do preach transparency here. I can honestly say, like Eagle Scouts honor and everything else, hand on the Bible, whatever, I don't know the answer of any single person other than my wife and my son told me what he put to. Other than that, I don't know what anyone said. I made it a point to not look at people's responses because I don't want to know. So you're going to get unadulterated comments and results of surveys, and I promise you that. And so I'll make sure you all have that in your hand. You can do whatever you want with it, but I think it's pretty important that you read through those so you can hear why people voted the way they voted and hear their concerns.
I was just thinking with the 16% of parents of maybe, and this is just based on just a couple of questions I've had from people, that maybe it would have been better to have told parents, like, what would a schedule look like? What does that mean for an extended day versus just, do you want this or not? And I don't know what your plans are with the group, so I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah, we discussed that today. That would have been an impossibility to say those things prior. If you'll recall kind of my first superintendent's report about this, there's more than a little bit of work that goes into putting together one schedule. And I would imagine that should we proceed forward on possible schedules, that's going to be a large task for a group to come up with, because I think there's going to be merit in looking at possibilities of schedules, not, well, this is what they're doing in Wells and Wendover and Jackpot and Carlin right now. We just slap on 40 minutes on the end of the day, cut off Friday, and boom, we're done. I think needs exist that may require us to consider more creative options than just chopping a day off and adding a little bit of time here and there. So the teachers that I was speaking with, they understand that, and they have ideas for something a little more elaborate and something that would still fit the needs of students, because they recognize that going to 4-day means there's things people will go without on that 5th day every week. And so coming up with things to kind of resolve that, maybe talking about 5th day on occasion as professional development, like lots of different ideas. And so I guess I say that because I can't give, we couldn't have come up with a plan before, because I think the plan should match the needs, and the comments that I will share with you describe those needs. And so maybe knowing those needs, we can come up with the right type of plan. So like the next step would either be convening the superintendent's committee to say, yes, we're doing it. One of the plans, we're going to do it. And then we propose plans and people vote on it, and we go with a plan. Or it could be, let's give plan choices and then vote on them, et cetera, and then have maybe one way or the other. I think that's probably the next steps if the board decides to move forward based on the yeses and nos and undecideds and all that. That's how I see it going.
when it, or if it gets to that point, with the scheduling and all of that, a former district director reached out to me because he did all of that work. And I can get those schedules from him so that you have something to work with if that's
Sure.
Necessary, or, that'd be.
I also I've reached out to Churchill. They have a modified one where it's every other week is a shortened, and they do professional development and on certain Fridays. And so they've got a certain type of model. Living legend, Mr. Higbee over there has seen a certain type of model. We've got one operating right now in certain schools. And then I think we got a lot of smart people that we might have a model that maybe is something like one of those might be the base of it, but we want to do something a little different. It's got to meet the needs of the community. That's the bottom line of a 4-day model or any 5-day model. Like it should meet the needs of the community. So,
But it also has to be based on student achievement. I mean, to me, that's the key right there. And I'm not saying the community doesn't matter, because it does, but we have to look at, does it benefit student achievement? That's kind of where I'm at, but I like hearing all the alternatives and all of that. There's a lot to it.
I certainly would hope that our students' achievement and well-being is at the top of people's minds when they're coming up with this.
Well, thanks.
Yep.
And just as a point of input, I had several people reach out that said, well, I don't have kids in school yet, or, I'm a business owner or whatever. How can I share my opinion? And I don't know if there's a method we're looking at to give other people who don't have a student or aren't a student or an employee of the district an opportunity to share. If there's some kind of forum we can utilize for that, just throwing that out there. There are people who are interested who would like to share their opinion and have it, that same type of information.
We hadn't
come to the
talked
board from
about
them.
a survey of sorts for that, but I do know a place every other week that has public comment at the beginning and end of it. And none of those outside of that one meeting, nobody showed up to tell us. I would encourage them to come to public comment in our board meetings it doesn't have to be an agenda item for you to come comment on it. Like, you can come here and give public comment on how you feel about the 4-day option. So that's a great way to do that. I've got an email inbox that would willingly accept anyone's opinions on it. Plenty of people have taken advantage of that. C. Anderson at ECSDNV.net. You can find it on the website as well. If they want to send it to you and you can forward it on to me, we'll take it that way. I will take input from people however they want to get it to us. But the conversation of doing like a community survey has not been part of the conversation.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions or guidance for Mr. Anderson? Thoughts?
I would just back up the public comment. It would be nice to see more. I've seen a few issues where that has guided us over the summer. Just for example, the one on the censorship policy, and that was brought up, people that started with a meaningful comment from a citizen that was concerned. And I urge on this issue or any other for folks to please, you don't even have to come to the meeting. You can send it in an email and one of us will be happy to read it.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Go ahead.
I think the course of action that Mr. Anderson and the 3 teachers have put out is a good course of action. It's not the statistics that I'd like to see. It's not the returns that I'd like to see. And I think it's important enough that we do try to give additional time. But with that said, I don't think we kick the can forever. And I think we need to have a very clear cutoff and say, either we're going to make the decision based on the results returned, or we're not going to make a decision because we haven't gotten enough results. So as a board, I think we do need to decide what that date is. And perhaps Mr. Anderson can propose something that we can look at a future date. But I do want to just make sure that we're clear on, we can't string it out forever. And so I appreciate what you're doing. And I think that that's a good course of action. The other part that I have, and it's something that I've struggled with since we put it out, especially considering that, and in fact, I actually had a comment on that today from one of our citizens, one of our constituents, that in many households, the division of labor is such that one parent will take care of students and one parent kind of takes the back seat and the other student or the other parent drives. My wife and I, in fact, my wife she's the one that usually signs in, but I was the one that was able to sign in pretty easily on this one. And then she responded as well. So in our household, we got 2 responses, but I think that if there is a way to look at Infinite Campus of how many addresses or students or however we want to do that have 2 parents, guardians, responsible adults that those addresses are going to, and did we get any responses versus we got 1 response but not the second. I'm not trying to say that the backseat parent doesn't count, but I think in many households, the backseat parent may not do anything but duplicate what that other one was. And finding out to say 16% of parents were in there, but of that, we actually got 32% of households. I don't think it's that high, but something along those lines may be enough data points to give us more direction.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. All right, if there's nothing else on that item, we will go ahead and move on to item 6.1, which is approval of the accounts payable.
I move to approve the accounts payable, October 11th, 2022.
Thank you. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Abstentions, disclosures on this one? All right. All in favor of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Chair votes aye, and the accounts payable October 11th, 2022 are approved. Go ahead.
I move to approve the Wells Rural accounts payable, October 11th, 2022.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. I will disclose that I have a family member who is employed by Wells Rural Electric, so I will also be abstaining from this motion. Any questions or discussion on this item? All right, all in favor of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Chair abstains, and the motion carries. Item 7.1 is input from the public. This is a final opportunity to share your input if you wish to do so. All right. Well, thank you. We will adjourn the meeting. We appreciate your presence and the work that you do. Have a wonderful evening.